Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me. Welcome to the new year. Hello. 2021. What?
I know.
The fuck?
We're currently in 2020, so this
I'm
is
acting.
Future.
Dear future self, nothing's changed, right? It's the same, just a little bit later. Hello, everybody. This is an advice podcast. I'm Megan. I'm joined with my co-host, Melisa.
Hello, Megan.
We make up the
duo.
90s 2000 rapper Eminem. If you stack us on top, actually I feel like he's smart, but I was like, if you stack us on top of each other and put on some baggy jeans, it's actually just Eminem.
Hi, my name is. If we want to be completely truthful, I don't need you to stack it up.
I don't need. Is that
because my initials are already Eminem.
Oh, true. You don't need me. You actually don't. I'm just the glitter of this situation, and I've accepted it. This is an advice podcast. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. If you're brand new here, what happens is we play your voicemail or your voice recording, and then we give you advice. And we give you advice that, we want to hear. If we were asking for advice, sometimes it's tough love, but it always comes from a good place. And what we lack in credentials and degrees, we make up for in having opinions on everything.
I so love that you say that now.
Because it feels so right. And I just feel like we finally encompassed really what it is and why we've got opinion. I have so many opinions. When people opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. I'm like, well, it's not like an asshole for me. It's like a pour. I have millions. I have so many opinions. You have no idea. We ask that you are 18 or over, you get your parents' permission before you call in. And you also got to keep that voicemail or voice memo under 3 minutes. Otherwise, you will be cut off. Not by us, by technology. Mm-hmm. And you will be shamed. So write it down. Practice what you're going to say. Come up with all of the details. And if you hold back, we know. And we know. Tell. And the only thing that we can do from there is go with not only what we have, but then we have to make assumptions about certain things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those assumptions are not, you think that the truth is bad. Tell us the truth. Right. What our assumptions are most likely are going to be a little bit worse. But yeah, what's new with you?
Been balls deep into directing a huge audiobook that there's 80 actors. And one of them so far, I still don't even have the full actor list, but one of them so far, which if you're part of our Patreon, then you already know this, is a Tony Award winning actor. Which Megan knows who it is.
I do.
And
I do know who it is.
Huge.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. insane. I'm so, obviously we're recording this like what is it? It's December something right now.
Yeah, it's December 19th right now. And even by the time this comes out, I still wouldn't have I haven't recorded with them yet. So like, yeah.
Oh, wow. But I'm just so happy that like, I mean, you're always so, if people don't know this about Melisa, you're always so fucking busy and you have so much stuff going on all the time. But I'm also like especially happy that this is like, not that your work isn't always exciting, but like this is like a shitty time of year during the holidays to like not necessarily be with other people. Like I'm so stoked that like you have, obviously you're getting like paid and getting like a cool job, but like it's like exciting. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like something like fun and cool and you're stoked about it.
Yeah. And I was like smiling the whole time. Just so you know, you are the first person that I told, but you didn't see the text message. But because we were already texting when I got, like we were texting when I got the email, but
it just makes me happy because like it like there's so few and far between things right now to like we're all pretty low. It's hard to get excited. Yeah. And like especially this time of year when everything's so shitty. So like I'm so happy that like, you know, I obviously like I was like, I hate that I'm leaving her in LA. Like this is so like,
even
sucks.
though we weren't like together, but like it's still
it's just like the symbolic.
Yeah.
Like
we like for real. Like I feel like I know that you're like thousands of miles away at this point. And like, I knew that, but like, it wasn't like we were seeing each other before, but I still feel the distance. It feels weird, right? Even though, I mean, we did see each other a couple times when we were doing like drops of like,
Thanksgiving food
and
But no, I feel the same. I feel the same way. Even though it's like, I see you just as much as I have for the last 6 months, 9 months or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just the background feel different. It does. But yeah, I'm excited for you. I can't wait till people know like everything and all that stuff. Because like, even just like I was like geeking when it was just like 80 people, like when it was just huge. And then it became like, oh, and those 80 people are fucking cool. Yeah. Like, it's so sick. Fucking crushing it. Fucking crushing it.
Thank you.
Get that. I was going to say get that bread, but then I started doing it to the song of get that head, get that bread, and then leave. And that's just not professional in this situation for your job. Maybe a different job. Well, anything else before we get in, or should we?
I just want to do a few house clean things. Please do not DM us for asking for advice. Please, that's what the show's for. So please call in. Please, if you're under 18, make sure that you get your parents' permission. Especially if you send us something in a DM. Like, no, please don't do that. Also, don't DM us asking us why you didn't get in the Facebook group or why you're still not getting it. It's because you didn't follow directions. So go back, read things carefully, follow the directions. I think that's it.
Yeah. And also, I will say too, if you also got kicked out of the Facebook group, there are some exceptions to that. Like there was one time that like we like looked into like someone who like I recognize their name, like have been in the group for a long time, and like I had no memory of any problematic behavior. Like you and I talked about it, and then I looked and it was like, oh, I accidentally did it at like 4:35 a.m., which meant that like I accidentally did it. But if you're messaging and then the ones that have been killing me is the DMs I've been getting, people going, I got kicked out of the Facebook group. I think it's because of X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, then yeah. So it has been kind of like, you know, validating for me. The people who've been reaching out have been like, I got kicked out. I've like never posted, but I loved reading everything. And I was like, yeah, that's why you got kicked out.
We've said 1,000 times that you can't just be in the group just to read things. You have to be an active member. Because
it's not like a secret. That's like the thing that like I try to get through to people, that it's like these aren't people like secret people posting their like these are people who have like their names and pictures attached and they're sharing really vulnerable stories or sharing really personal, intimate kind of stuff. And when you're just like watching that, it just doesn't, it just feels sketchy and like icky and like it doesn't feel supportive
and not in the like sexy way.
No, it's not sexy at all. But have been happy to see all the new people in the group though, and like who are like actively participating, and you know that makes me excited. So we do like having new people in the group. It's just we're very, very protective of everybody in it and making sure that, nobody's coming through and being an asshole.
So
should we?
Let's get into the update.
Woohoo!
So I called in with my coworker. He was acting like really weird towards me, and this is after like I had found out that he had a crush on me. It was for the episode with Jesse, season 5, like episode 6. And he started like acting like really cold towards me. And anytime I worked in a police precinct, but I was like not a cop, like nothing like that.
I like how you.
I like the disclaimer. She's like, not a cop, a cab, not a cop.
I was a victim's advocate, so like I had to basically anytime somebody made a police report, I would get their information, and both of us were victims advocates. And anytime like an officer made a comment about my boyfriend, he would start making like really rude comments like, oh, it's not going to last. Like, your guy lives out of state. Like, that's really hard. And I was like, no, it's not. That's what the original call was about. And after I called, it actually ended up escalating to the point of where, one of the officers was like, oh, like, are you meeting his parents yet? And I was like, yeah, going this weekend. And my coworker, like dead ass in front of everybody, stands up and is like, I don't think you should do that. I was like, oh, why? Like, it's none of your business as to what's going on. And he's like, you're moving way too fast. Like, what? You've only been dating this guy for a month? And I was like, no.
None of your business?
Yeah. And I actually ended up going like to my supervisor about it. And I was like, he's making really rude comments. And her solution was, well, maybe you should just be nicer and not bring up your boyfriend in like the workplace setting. And, he's trying to keep and she's like, I spoke with him and he's trying to be very professional and you're making it really hard for him to be professional. And I was like,
I hate women like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're setting us back. I'm like, you're making it harder for the rest of us, you bitch. Mm-hmm.
And HR was no help either because, and again, our HR woman for our unit was also a woman. And she was like, well, I'm not going to talk to him because he hasn't expressed any concerns, but I can move you to a different like precinct location. And I was like, but there's only 2 precincts that are open and both would add an additional hour commute onto my already hour and a half commute.
And also you're not the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was literally being nice. I like stopped talking about my boyfriend, and anytime an officer would be like, oh, how is he? Like, are you going to see him this weekend? He would make a point to say something that it's not going to work.
Ew.
And what really pissed me off was because we were working from home, just because where we live, they got very strict and they told us, even though I was considered an essential worker, they didn't want us going back into like the precinct locations just because they're like, cops are not following the regulations at all.
Oh my gosh. Surprise.
Shocked.
Like
the people that are protect and serve.
No way.
Following the rules.
So they're just like, well, you're a civilian, so we don't want you getting like anything happening to you.
Can we just say that doesn't that feel like a derogatory word, civilian? Doesn't it feel like an insult?
Yeah. It feels like I have like no power. But
yeah, because I think of that when I hear other people use that term, and I was curious, like in the workforce, if it also kind of feels like a kiddo. Do you know what I mean? Like, kiddo.
Yeah, I had an officer tell me like, well, you're a civilian, you don't know anything about the law, and I was like, I studied this for 4 years and then additional 2 years to get my master's in what you do.
Right, and you know way more than they know.
Yeah.
And also, even what they know, they're like, well, I also know the loopholes in the, like, that, like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm. It was a great time, but I'm no longer working there, so it's great.
Great.
Hell yes.
And I don't work with cops now at all. So still in a victim service field, but
yeah.
No cops.
I mean, that shouldn't be part of, it shouldn't be part of cop duties. Like, it shouldn't fall under the same purview anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it was an uphill battle for a lot of stuff. Like a lot of it makes your job harder. Like your job, like Melissa said, it shouldn't be related to that at all. And so like, I'm sure that like it's you're not necessarily back that you weren't necessarily in a position where you could help as much as you like wanted to and like all of that stuff. Like I'm sure you faced a lot of like obstacles, fucking stupid obstacles.
They would pull out like technicalities, and it's like pretty much like I'd pull out like their code book and be like, this is what it says, this is what you should do, and they're like, well, you know, because it was raining that day, or like some utter bullshit of like, well, I know this better than you, and I know like what to avoid, like doing anything for this case.
Oh, trash.
But I work with foster kids, so it's great.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Hell yes. A cab every fucking day.
But I'm so glad she got out of that fucking situation.
Me fucking too. I was worried. There's like nothing shittier than like when like work, you have to be there and you're doing shit. And then when other people make it like a job that's already hard, even fucking harder. And then like in a social way too, like it's just like, why are you making everything worse? Fucking happy for her. Very, very happy. Would love to see it.
All right. Now on to our first call.
Hi, Megan and Melissa, and possibly guest, probably not though. As we all know, it is the quarantine still, so probably not. Anyway, I'm just gonna get right into this call. I am calling because my boyfriend and we've been dating for 5 years. We just moved into our first apartment with our dog, and it's only been a couple of months, but pretty much since the day we moved out, both his family and my family will not just let us enjoy our new space. His family decided to do family dinners, which, you know, in theory sounds amazing. I love his family. I love having dinner with them. I love hanging out with them. But I don't want to do it every single weekend. And they want to do that every single weekend. And we do not. I mean, we don't have a problem with like saying no sometimes, but like they're the kind of people that need an explanation every single time you say no. And like my parents are constantly just wanting me to come over, and whether he's with me or not, they want to see my dog all the time. And I totally understand where they're coming from. But also, we've been out of the house for 3 months and it doesn't even feel like it. How am I supposed to miss those people if I see them at least once to 3 times a week? I need my space and I need my independence, and so does he. And I'm just really struggling how to communicate that to both my family and his family, because I do love them and I love spending time with them. I just want to fucking be an adult and enjoy my time with my boyfriend and my dog. Like, this is a whole new chapter in my life and I feel like I can't even enjoy it. So yeah, if you have any advice on how I can nicely convey that to both of our families, please and thank you.
Maybe just tell them we're in a pandemic.
That was gonna be my suggestion too, because as we know, bubbles don't actually exist unless you all live in the same household. That's the only way a bubble.
I hate the fucking term bubble.
It doesn't work. Like, they don't work because one person, once you like go to the grocery store, like it's out. Once you do whatever essential things you need to do, you're already out. And then in this case, like, you guys plus your parents on both sides, like, if this were to work, then you'd all have to be in the same bubble. And these are the only people you can see. And I can guarantee that with all these people, these aren't all the same people that you're able to see.
No, because like if I were to make it like my bubble back in LA would have been me, Moz, because he lives with me, and then Trader Joe's and CVS. Oh yeah. But like then they're like distant, but like that's like the thing.
But
that's the thing. Like I think of like like CVS is a part of my bubble.
Yeah.
Like And therefore, every person who's like in, and I'm not going, but I'm going by proxy because Monts is going.
Exactly.
Like, and that's the other part that like, we only have one person from our household who like goes and does stuff because it's like, if we both went to CVS to like pick up, so we go to CVS to like, pick up my medication, then like,
double exposure.
I come closer into contact with one other person, then he comes in close. Like it just completely doubles it, even if you're going to like the same places, like just because you're adding more bodies. So I think like you acknowledge the pandemic at the beginning of the call, and I know people like get upset when we like make things about this, but like I think this is a great way for you to express this like to your family, like in like, hi, you know, we obviously like love seeing you, but it's really not safe right now. And we want to enjoy our new apartment. And it's weirdly a very serendipitous thing that like we actually get to like, it's a pandemic and we're moving into this new place together that we can't really see other people. And so like, it is kind of a great excuse for him and I to like really celebrate this time, just him and I together. And it's also about protecting your safety and everybody else's safety around us. And it doesn't mean that we don't love you, but like, let's have once a month, let's do like a family, like Zoom, dinner over Zoom kind of thing, and like switch off in that way. But even
then, I don't think she even wants to do that. I think sometimes she just doesn't want to hang out with them every weekend. So I think like if we were giving advice post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, or like even like with the Zooms, I would just be upfront with them and be like, we just kind of want to do our own thing today. And just say that we can have family dinners, you know, once a month. But this isn't something that we want to keep doing. And I'm sure they're missing you guys. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Especially when you were with them all the time. But just tell them, like, this isn't something that we want to continue to do. It's going to hurt their feelings. You need to be prepared for that. It's going to hurt their feelings. But sometimes you have to put yourself first.
And you have to put your foot down, because if this is what they expect in a pandemic, they're going to expect more. Yeah. so much more. And yeah, it's not personal, but they also have to get that, like, there are ways to like spend quality. Like, you don't have to spend quality time. Isn't necessarily like, oh, every single weekend, like this, and this. And it will get easier. Like, it is going to be like an awkward conversation at first, but I think like it's about deciding, do you feel more comfortable issuing a blanket statement first of like, but like, and you reach out before they're asking you to hang out? Or do you feel more comfortable in the moment when they're like, hey, let's hang out this weekend? And it's like, you know, we obviously like love hanging out with you, but like, we've been talking about it, and we really like want to spend some time together and like just do our own kind of stuff. And like, we obviously miss you and we love you, but like hanging out every single weekend not only is excessive and dangerous in like the pandemic, but also like it's not giving us the opportunity to really like enjoy this like new space and like new time together. And so like, let's like, how about like, and like pick a date, like how about let's do like a family Zoom this time or this day or whatever. Yeah, and I think that can be.
Yeah. And there's like friends that I have that they want to FaceTime like every weekend. And for me, first of all, I work pretty much every day as it is. But like when I am done working, like I need that time to decompress. And that means that I don't want to talk to anybody during that time. Or like in your case, you're probably like busy all during the week. This is your time for you guys to just have time together without having to worry about work or school or whatever you're doing. Yeah. So like they need time. Like, just let them know that you just need time. You just need time.
If they're going to be upset with you over like this, understand that like you are doing the right and safe thing. And so like take a step back if they're going to be upset, and like unplug from talking for a little while until they can cool down. But like, you don't when people are upset with you in that kind of situation for like this stuff, like if we're going to be being specific to the pandemic, you don't have to listen. It's not your responsibility to listen to other people be upset with you over the choices that you're making that are protecting the safety of you and others. And so if they start talking to you in a way that like does not make you feel good or makes you feel really guilt trippy and bad, like you are an adult, and like exercise that right and ability to be like, you know what, this is not the kind of this is not a productive conversation, and this is not something that feels good. So I'll talk to you later, and like make those really strong boundaries now. Because again, if you don't make them now, post-pandemic, and they got to be, you guys, like, be safe, taking care of everybody. And like, I know a lot of people, like, when this happens, like, well, like this, but this and this, and like these like excuses and all of this kind of stuff. It's like, no, you don't want to see them right now, and we're in a pandemic. So like, it's just, it is like, this is, you have an opportunity to like set those clear boundaries. But even though I'm saying like, make sure you're talking about the pandemic too, just because I want you to be safe and your families to be safe, don't use that as like the excuse to get out of the party. Yeah. Like, because it still needs to be like these set boundaries. So it's not like, oh, the second that like we're going to go back to normal, it's going to be like this again. It's about setting those boundaries and addressing the fact that we're in a pandemic and keeping your family and you safe and everyone who you interact with safe. Because not even just you guys, but like the people that like at the grocery store, like, you know, someone who's buying groceries for someone who's immune compromised, like all of like healthcare, like workers and all of that kind of stuff. It's just like that needs to be the safety of it.
Hi, Megan, Melissa. I love your podcast a lot. So I'm 18 years old and I'm a Pisces. So I'm calling in about a situation that I have with a friend. So around this time of year, everybody, I'm a senior in high school, they're like getting into college, making their decisions. So me and my friend both got accepted into this one school. And if I'm being honest, it's probably my top choice and probably where I'm going to end up. And for her, I never really heard her bring it up until I did. And I honestly would prefer to go to a college where there weren't people from my high school, but I understand like that's not realistic, but I kind of just want a fresh start. The problem is when I talked to her about it, she basically said that she'll go if I go. Like if I go there, she's going to like follow me, if that makes sense. And that's pretty much why she wants to go there. And she's also like, yeah, like we can go together and we can room together and rush for like sorority and all this stuff, which I know like it sounds great, but I know that we'll get sick of each other. And I honestly kind of just want to branch out in college and meet new people. And like, especially the roommate thing, I just know that we would not get along and it wouldn't be good. And I don't really know how to tell her that she shouldn't make the decision because of me. And if she does go there, that we probably shouldn't room together. I don't really know if I'm overreacting for being annoyed, but I'm just not sure how to handle the situation. So I appreciate your help. Bye.
You're not overreacting. This is Melissa and I's worst nightmare.
Yeah, like completely worst nightmare. I don't know how big the school is, but I went to a state school that was like 20 minutes from my hometown. So therefore, most of the people I went to high school with were in that school. And I didn't ever see, like, I saw them all the time, but like we weren't friends because I feel like there's just a natural divide when you go to college. And if you tell her, like, I think you'll get your fresh start. But if you tell her up front, like, I don't want to room with you, there's delicate ways to go about this, but saying like, like to preserve our friendships, I hear that a lot of people that are friends, if they room together, then it just ruins their friendship. And I don't want that ruined. So like, I don't want to be roommates with you. And then like for the sorority thing, like rushing together, just because you rush together doesn't mean you're going to end up in the same sorority at all.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be like with her while you're going through all that. What else did she bring up?
Well, I think the like you said with like I think a good excuse or a reasoning to say for the roommate thing is also just saying like, I want to go into college. Like, I think it'll also be great too, because then like, we'll be able to meet more people and like I can meet your roommate, you can meet my roommate. And so that we automatically have like more people, like as opposed to just being us two. But you do have to tell her because it like she will be so disappointed. Like that, like assuming there will be like a natural falling out will work only if you're not roommates.
Yep.
But if you agree to like be roommates and you don't kind of shut down her like like that thing of being like, you know, like I'm excited to go to college. Like, I think it'd be really cool if like we like went to like the same college, but like I just like want to be upfront with you. Like, I obviously care about you as a friend and I think you're awesome, but like I really want to like have like a random roommate so like I can meet some like new people, and like especially with like Russian sororities and stuff, like I don't want either of us to feel like pigeonholed to like feeling like we have to like the same sororities, and like we can be friends if we're in different sororities. Like I don't want our college experiences to be dependent on both of us like liking and wanting to do the kind of like exact same thing, because like I don't know what I'm gonna like in college. Like I don't know what I'm gonna want to do, and I think like we'll be able to maintain our friendship and be so much better friends like if we have like our own stuff and our own things. And like I know so many people who like went through Rush with like, whether it was like people that they met at orientation or like friends or whatever, and like everybody kind of ended up where they ended up. But if you don't create those boundaries with like the root, like because she might then choose to go to a different school, and like that's good. Like if that's what it's writing on.
Yeah. And like even like within my friend group from high school, like 2 of the gals in my friends groups, they were like best friends since they were like in diapers, basically. Like they were neighbors. They roomed together in college, don't speak to each other anymore. Me and another girl that we weren't like the closest, but we were still like in the friend group. We don't speak to each other. Like we stopped speaking to each other after the first semester, because like she left and became an RA, and it was just like this weird tension that was within. And I don't think that, and even my sister, her like best friend that she's been with, that's been her best friend since they were little, like they decided that they weren't going to room together in college because of, you know, it just doesn't work out, even though that they're like basically sisters. They didn't room together, and they're still best friends now. And they're like 27, 28, I don't know, 29. I forgot it. I made fun of her because this is her last year in her 20. And so like, I just think that it's going to naturally happen. Even if you guys room together, you're going to fall out. And even if you don't room together, you're going to have a natural separation. So either way, it's going to be messed up. So you just got to be upfront with her to begin with.
Yeah. I think it's just easier to like set that precedent beforehand, because like you do feel an obligation to a friend, and you shouldn't, your first fucking weeks of college, like you shouldn't feel an obligation to anybody. You don't know anyone. Like you shouldn't have those kind of like lasting things. And also it is the amount of people who like, I didn't go to college for a long time, but like the people who like their roommate was their friend from high school or whatever, those people, I didn't become friends with them because they didn't they hung out with just each other. Like it's not like it feels weird. Like it is just kind of like a different situation. Like there could be like, oh, we're friends in college, but like, yeah, like we were not from high school, but like we didn't room together. Like that gives people like oh, okay. Like you're not just trying to like recreate high school in this circumstance. But yeah, I mean, I would feel so weird by this if like a friend, like Sydney and I applied to like only maybe like 1 or 2 of the same schools. And we got into like we had like one overlap, and neither of us went there. And it wasn't like now we have like, and like, she's like my sister. She's like my best friend. She's the only friend that I could room with. And like, I could have roomed with all of college, but like, it wasn't like we're not going to go to the same school. It was just like, we have different things that we want to do and like different kind of stuff. And we have different like goals and things that we want out of college. And like, I'm sure it feels also pretty fucking weird that like this person, like she's kind of just copying you, and it's not like a coincidence, because she is resting a lot of this heavily on like you guys doing things together. So it doesn't think that this is like a selling, like I think you are the selling point to the school, which is a lot of pressure that you do not need. And you know, it's not a mean thing. She might be upset, but that's also not on you at all, because it's not your responsibility. And she'll be more upset if you don't say anything, and then it happens when she's already at college. Awkward.
Y'all.
Okay, guys, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back from our break and we're going to hop into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Megan. Hi, Melissa. I'm calling you guys about this guy I'm seeing. We started dating/seeing each other about a month ago, and so far it's been great. We get along really well. For context, I am 21, I am an Aries, and he is 23 and a Sagittarius. He's really creative, whereas I'm quite academic and logical, so I feel like we complement each other quite well. And yeah, I just feel really comfortable around him. He's really in touch with his emotions. He makes me feel really comfortable. I feel like we can talk about anything, and so far we've just been having a great time. The problem is our sex life. We have not had sex yet, and this is not for lack of trying. By the third date, I invited him over to mine, and basically he just couldn't get it up. I thought this was okay, like no big deal. He told me that he hadn't had sex in a long time because obviously we've been in a global pandemic and that this hadn't happened before, and I didn't think much of it. Thing is, it's now been 4 or 5 times I've either gone round to his or he's come over to mine, and it's been the same thing every time. We start making out, things get hot and heavy, and then he just can't get hard. Obviously, this is a really sensitive topic for guys, and I don't want him to feel bad about himself, but I have made it clear to him that I really want to have sex. How do I go about making him feel comfortable? I don't know if he's just really nervous. He has said that he really likes me and now it's just become a nerve thing. But obviously I think it might be something maybe more medical. So I've, recommended that he see a doctor. But I realize this is something that must be quite nerve-wracking and maybe emasculating for a guy. I hate that word, but you know what I mean. I've kind of jokingly said that we should do the TikTok trend where we both take Viagra and see how long we can keep our hands off each other. Because I feel like maybe if we both take it, it's less of an issue for him. So basically my question is, well, A, is this a deal breaker? Should I just stop seeing him? I do really like him though, but I can't imagine a relationship without a sex life. Or B, how do I make him more comfortable around me? Is he maybe just not attracted to me? Or is he just really nervous? Or is this a medical thing? How do I go about this? The other thing I want to ask about is, obviously, we've done stuff in the bedroom. I've gone down on him, and he's offered to go down on me multiple times, but every time I said no. Basically, my ex refused to go down on me, and we dated for 2 years. Absolute dick, I know. But now I have this huge fear about guys going down on me. I don't know, it just seems really scary and intimate. How do I get over this fear of having a guy's head between my legs? I really want us to progress as a couple and make things official at some point, but I don't know how we can go about this if A, I'm scared of him going down on me, and B, we can't have sex. Thanks so much. Bye.
Why is this a trend, first of all? Second, you shouldn't be taking medication that you shouldn't be taking. Like, if you don't need it, then you shouldn't be taking it. I mean that, like, for you. I mean, he might need it, but he needs to go to a doctor and get this checked out. He might be on other medications that are inhibiting him from getting an erection, or it might be stress. There are a plethora of reasons that it could be. And I wouldn't think if he's going out with you and having a good time with you, it's not because he's not attracted to you and he wants to go down on you. Like, he wouldn't, people that aren't attracted to you would want to give you head. No. So it's not that. So that's that issue. How would you go about telling or suggesting that to someone? Because it sounds like she already did in a roundabout way.
Yeah. So I think the key thing here, she's already done that. And then the other part is is this a deal breaker? And so the thing is, for me personally, it's also about incentive. So it's about, okay, no shame. There's so many different factors or reasons why this could be happening, but do you care as much about this happening and making a change as I'm trying to care? Because you've only been dating him for a month, and you don't want to obviously push him to do something he's not comfortable with or whatever or anything like that. It is you are treading lightly. So there gets to be a point where you've brought it up enough times and he's choosing not to go to the doctor. If he's embarrassed or feels uncomfortable about it, then that's fine, but that's on him. And it's not your responsibility to be oh, okay, this thing that's really important to me, he feels uncomfortable. There's a certain extent of feeling uncomfortable and feeling nervous and awkward and it's emasculating, quote unquote. But those feelings are temporary. There are things that if it's not not even solution, if it's not action oriented, then it just becomes like complacent in it. And then it's just like, I don't know, like, I don't know what we're doing then, because like, I would like if we can change this, but like, I'm not going to push you to do something that you don't want to do. So then maybe we're just like not that compatible. And like, maybe it's something that like, he's not like, it could be any sort of like reason, but if he doesn't want to fix this more, then that's just kind of like where it is. Like, it has to be a level of like, I always say like, if you can't complain about something you have no plans on fixing or no plans on like making a change on. And so I think it just does get to a point where do you want to make a change? Like, do you want to talk to a doctor? And if you don't want to feel comfortable talking to a doctor, that's okay. Like, that's fine. That's your life. But like, sex is important to me. And this is something that I need in a relationship. And that doesn't make you a bitch for like not wanting to like, because again, it's about the incentive. It's about like, this is something that's important to me. And I'm seeing that this is not of equal value or importance to you. So therefore, we're just not compatible. Like, and that's okay. But I think I agree that I don't think that he would be offering to go down on you if he didn't, unless he like knows that you don't like that. And then he's just like doing it knowing that it's not going to happen. But I would assume like he is attracted to you, because you don't really do that when you're like not attracted to someone. And I think if you don't feel I think if you don't feel comfortable with that with him, I think if you don't feel comfortable with someone going down on you, that's okay. And just because he's now not able to get hard and you can't have sex doesn't necessarily mean that you need to break down something that you know what I mean? That like, if you don't feel comfortable, because like, I think going down on someone is so much more intimate than having sex. And if you're not at that level where you feel like you can like trust him and like, that because your ex made you feel a certain type of way about it, like you don't have to be like, okay, well, fuck my feelings. Now I have to do this because we can't do this other thing. Like, are there hands being involved? Is he like fingering you? Are you getting off like that way? But
I think she does want him to go down on her. She's just like mentally not ready for it.
Yeah,
she wants to figure out how she can get over,
how she can feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
I think I think these are really connected, because like, it is intimate to have someone's fucking like head between your legs. And like, I, if not to project, but if this were me, I would feel like it can feel, obviously it's hard for the person who's like has a hard time getting hard, but like I'm sure there is parts of it that feel like, oh, are you attracted to me or anything like that? And then you're supposed to feel sexy and relaxed and having someone go down on you, which in the back of your mind, you're wondering if he is attracted to you. So I think that you need to have a conversation with everything as a whole with him to be like, here's the thing. I know you've offered to go down on me. I really appreciate that. Like, here's a little back history. Like, my ex never used to do that. And like, not that I don't want to call it a complex, but like, he really got in my head. And like, now I have like these like insecurities about this. Yeah. And it's not something that it's something that I really want to work through. But I think something that's really tied to that is like, it feels really intimate. And I know that this must like, you have no reason to feel like ashamed or like weird or anything about what's going on. But like, I can't but help like feel like, I know it's not like, I know that's probably not what it is, but like, I can't help but feel like a little insecure, which is making me really not feel comfortable for having you around me. Cause like, I don't feel sexy. Like, I feel like I'm not, like, you're not attracted to me. And like, I just think that like sex is something that's really like important to me. And I don't think that I can have you go down. I think we need to figure all of this out. And just like on the reverse of that, he might be feeling the same way, which is why he can't get hard too. Yeah. And I think if you can both just be super open and honest and like have a conversation that where you're talking about it and it's not like in the moment, like, oh, this not like, and then you don't bring it up again, like bringing it up when you're not naked, if you're not having sex, like having this be a conversation. And then like, sure, maybe it's just like the verbal affirmations that you both need, that you both find each other sexy, you're both really attracted to each other. Like that is like, maybe that will help. But other than that, I think like it's coming up with an action plan of like, would you feel comfortable like talking to like your like doctor about it, just because like the self fix of like a Viagra or something, like that's not
getting to the root of the problem if you don't know what the problem is.
And it could just create a bigger problem like it. And I think like there's a lot of things that could be going on, but like if you guys can't like have come to a communication with this kind of thing, it doesn't really matter how great on paper either of you are, you just might not be compatible, because it also might not be like as big of a deal. Like you guys might be weighing these things kind of differently and being like, well, not okay. Yeah.
But but him taking Viagra could be like, it's like you said, it's not going to fix like the core problem, but like I think just like the reverse of that would be like you getting super drunk and then letting him like feeling comfortable enough for him to go down on you. They're not fixing either one of the situations. You have to figure out why. I mean, we know why you're not comfortable, but like work through that, figure out how to work through that.
And that's like a slow process in building through that. And like, it's unlearning like self-judgment and behavior that somebody else had like instilled in you. And so like it takes a while to kind of unlearn that. And if he's not comfortable talking to you or talking to his doctor about that, I don't know how you would feel comfortable unpacking that with him too. Like it's just a level of communication and comfort. And it's valid that at 1 month you guys wouldn't necessarily feel that with each other. And that also doesn't necessarily mean that like, oh, let's stick around for 3 months to still see if we do. It might just not be the right pair. And this feels like something very fixable, and it could not be. Like it could just be like a incompatibility, and this is how it's like manifesting itself.
Jinx.
But yeah, I think if you won't talk to like a doctor or anyone about it, then that's kind of like, you're very allowed to have that be a deal breaker. Doesn't make you a bitch at all. Because it's not about the dick. It's about like the actual like like being proactive and, you know, all that. Let's go to the next one.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I hope you're doing well. I have a rather unique dating problem. So for a little backstory, I graduated college in May. College took me forever for reasons I won't get into. So I'm 27. I just graduated. Before all my classes went online in March, I had a crush on this guy. We'd have really good conversations before class, but I never got a chance to get his number. School went online and the world went kind of crazy and I lost contact with him. Fast forward to now in November, I'm on Tinder and Hinge. I found this same guy on Tinder a few weeks ago and it reignited all my feelings. I swiped right and he never responded. I just found him on Hinge tonight and I'm pretty sure he's inactive on both apps because both of them have him working a job that I know only students at our college can have, and we both graduated. I matched him on Hinge, and it's too soon to know if he liked me on there. I reject a lot of people on both apps because I'm super liberal and I live in a very conservative state, so I'm pretty sure that both apps are just showing me more inactive users because I rejected all the active people. So basically, I'm looking for advice on what to do because I really miss this guy. And even if he's not interested in me romantically, I'd like to have him as a friend because we had really good conversations. Is it creepy that I liked him on 2 different apps? Is it weird to like people on apps who you know in real life? I'm pretty sure he has Facebook, so I could reach out to him there. In case you're wondering, I'm 27. As I said, I'm a Gemini Sun, Aquarius Moon, Libra Rising. He's 24, and I don't know his sign. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. Thanks.
We're simping after a 24-year-old?
I'm not too hip on the dating apps, but aren't you, after you're like inactive for a minute, doesn't your profile just kind of go away? Like you don't keep showing up for people?
I think it should, but if you have like swiped through like a lot of people and rejected a lot of people, they do end up showing like you'll be seeing like more backlogged kind of people. I have had someone who saw me on a dating app and I hadn't been on it in months and months and months and months. But we also have like mutual. I mean, we're friends, like we know each other. And so that would show up more. So if you also have like mutual friends with this person, I think it would probably be more likely to show up. But also, I don't really think that in general, like, I think that's me giving like big benefit of the doubt. But like, you know, when people are like, oh, it's an inactive profile, like rarely that happens. Like, it's kind of an excuse that people use when they're like on a dating app and they're in a relationship and like, or something like that. Like it's, as far as I know, most places don't. And like, this could be the exception to the rule in the sense that like, you have mutual friends and like you've swiped through everybody. And so like, they're showing you like, but also those dating apps usually tell you last active.
Mm-hmm. And then also like with the thing with you saying that his work is something that's just on campus, it could be one, he didn't change it, or two, like he's a student and it's something on campus. And if he was in school, then he might still have that job, or like he doesn't want to change to unemployed or just student.
Yeah.
So
well,
like I don't.
I think those both are connected through Facebook too. So like when I was on dating apps, mine said like UC Riverside, like, and I dropped out, hadn't gotten there in forever, but it was just like they take any sort of like identifying kind of personal information and have it there. So like you would have to change, you have to go into your like Facebook usually and change those kinds of settings. I will say, if you have feelings for this person, which you do, don't try and be friends with them. Because you don't want to be friends with him. You want to date him. And you think that if you become friends with him, it's just different. Like it is just fully different. I think there's a way that like you can think you're attracted. You can think you really like someone and then you hang out and then you're like, oh, we're way better as friends. But it's not usually like oh, I really like you, but I'll take being your friend. Because like that's just not going to end well. I don't think it's weird to swipe right on people who you know in real life. Monts and I saw Monts on a dating app before we started dating. He swiped right, I swiped left, and I sent him a screenshot. And I was like, I
did the same thing to someone.
It's like cheeky and cute, being like, well, I wasn't gonna like, I don't know if you're gonna swipe right. And he's like, oh, I swiped right. And I was like, oh, it's funny. I don't think that's like weird at all, but I think you're kind of just like backpedaling so much of this. Like if you like this dude and like you want to reach out, message him on Facebook, but like be like forward with what you're into, but like don't kind of be like, oh well, I liked him on these apps, but I don't really want to reach out to him on Facebook, and like maybe we'll just be friends. Like you're backpedaling. Like if you're interested, be interested and show your cards and then see if he's into it or not. But it doesn't really matter how you go about something unless you're like stalking someone. But like it doesn't really matter how you go about something. Someone's either going to be into you or they're not. So like, I wouldn't worry about like the technicalities of everything. And I just wouldn't backpedal. I would just like reach out and flirt over Facebook.
Yeah.
I think that's like very valid, because also it makes it, you're protecting yourself in that sense. I think a lot of the time, like we think like if we kind of like slow ball, like go into it in a way, then we're protecting ourselves so we don't get hurt. But then it's just the long game of getting hurt, because then someone's talking to you and then you're like, oh, are they leading me on? It's like, well, have I given them any indication that I'm into them, or am I just like being nice? And like, if you don't show your intentions when you're like getting to like when you're reaching out to someone, I just think like, yeah, you save both of yourselves like a lot of like confusion and hurt if you're just like honest and you already know how you feel. So I think you would be doing yourself a disservice if you just downplayed it, or kind of you were going about it in a very roundabout way. You have message him on Facebook. Hey,
yeah, just send him a message.
And I think you can
be like, hey, because I mean, you graduated in May. Just be like, hey, just checking in to see how everything's going, because you haven't talked to him since you graduated, I take it. So just like do that, and then I think you'll be able to gauge if he actually likes you or not.
I would be so forward and I would be like, hey, so should I take it personally that I swiped right on you on 2 dating apps and I didn't get any matches? Or would you like to have a redemption arc? Like I would like make some cheeky joke about like that. And if he's like, oh, like that's so funny, like, you know, like I think you're a great friend, but like I don't like necessarily see like that. And it's like, okay, no hard feelings, let's be friends. Like I think like, but I'm also forward as fuck. Like I would just rather like rip the Band-Aid off and get it over with. But yeah, I would just I would just flirt automatically. And I say that because I prefer dudes who do that to me. Like I would so much prefer a guy who like right off the bat is so flirty and I'm like, oh, I'm not interested. Like, thanks.
See, I would get that and be like, who the fuck is this stalker?
I mean, it depends on how well you knew each other. But I think that definitely depends.
Yeah. But then, you know, automatically you don't have to waste your time anymore simping and thinking about what could be.
Maybe he fucking sucks. We can romanticize people like that. And also just like that, it's kind of comfort when you're like, oh, I know you. You're not a serial killer as far as I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, be bold. Fuck it. We're in a pandemic. We're not gonna fucking see anyone. That's what I think. Like,
true.
I'll just if I go for it and you're not into it, I'll just block you and never think of you again.
Time for Don't Blame Them.
Don't Blame Them is when one of our listeners gives their own advice from a previous episode. Maybe they've got personal experience with the call that we talked about, or they have some sage wise wisdom or anything like that. Get some more insight. So what's it from?
So this is from season 7, episode 3, where in the original call, the girl and her boyfriend do not have their pants off at the same time because they don't want to bone. Well, yes, she wants to bone, but he wants to wait till marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So here is someone sharing their advice.
Okay, so I got cut off last time, so I'm trying again. Hi, Megan and Melissa. I'm calling for the girl in the episode, Snooping Little Brother, who was waiting till marriage with her boyfriend and having trouble getting off by doing other things. I have advice for if she decides to stay with her boyfriend, although I totally agree that maybe the relationship isn't the best option for her right now. The first thing I want to say is that the idea that penis and vagina sex is like not doing that as abstinence, but doing everything else is really heteronormative because there's lots of people who don't have penis and vagina sex who are still having sex. So I would just encourage the caller to like look into that with her boyfriend and have those conversations, even if they're not going to change their boundaries. I had a super hard time getting off when I first started to like receive head. And I was just really in my head about like coming fast or like coming at all. So I would just encourage the caller not to worry so much about coming, like find a way to just set like a time for her boyfriend to go down on her and just like experience pleasure and not worry about coming during that time. It just takes away the pressure and you get out of your head a little bit. And then I would also suggest that she masturbate, which will help her learn what she likes. And then to go like a little more intense with that, she should buy a sex toy. And if she's comfortable with that and if her partner's comfortable, I think it's great to like use those together. So, you know, he can use it on her. They can make out. Like, it's just a really like fun time for both of you. And I think would still fit within your boundaries. But yeah, I did that way faster than my first one. So I love the podcast so much. And I wish this caller the best of luck because I totally understand where she's coming from. All right. Thank you guys. Bye.
I do love the image. I don't think that I can't imagine that he would be comfortable. And if he would, like, I mean, I'm not a fan of purity culture. I mean, purity culture, it's very damaging. And like, there's no issue with like deciding to not have sex. But the image and the idea that like, imagine it's like a giant dildo that he can like fuck her with, but he can't fuck her.
But maybe it's not like the, like a penetrative toy. It's like a clit toy.
No, I know, totally. That makes total sense. But I just think that like that would be like, that's one of those things that it's like, okay, come on, like, good God. But yeah, I mean, I think it is very true that, I mean, I think if we want to like dive deep into like purity culture as a whole, purity culture, it's very heteronormative. Like it very, very much is because most of it is derived from religions that have, you know, and purity culture also is kind of just like grooming in itself too, that it's like, no, you have to get married when you're very young so you can do these things and all of this kind of stuff where it's like you have like child brides essentially. And so that in itself, I think is very heteronormative. And I think that like having a conversation, if like the original caller having a conversation with her boyfriend about it, I think it might bring up some viewpoints that might be also a potential other deal breaker in the relationship. Mm-hmm. Because if it is like for, you know, religious reasons and they're talking and she brings up like, well, you know, penetrative sex is like not the only kind of like sex or whatever. I do wonder what his like views are on that, which is an even bigger deal breaker.
Some people call the butthole God's loophole.
God's loophole. Yet they get there somewhere against gay marriage. And it's like, well, okay. But yeah, I think like, you know, I think this is definitely like a tough spot to be in and not something that I'd be able to hang with.
Yeah. But you're not religious at all.
No, not at all. Don't know anything. Well, that's it for our episode, guys. We hope you enjoyed. If you want to call us for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Again, we ask you keep your voicemail under 3 minutes and you are 18 or over or have your parents' permission. You can also follow us on Instagram, Don't Blame Meme Pod, our own individual Instagrams, our videos over on Patreon. You can also support the show there. We do live streams twice a month, and it helps us keep doing this show that we love doing.
We love doing it.
We love it. We love it. You can leave us a review on the Apple Podcast app or wherever you listen to your podcasts. We appreciate it. We read them. And it's always nice when the first one's not like, fuck these liberals. These fucking liberals with their viewpoints and their astrology. They're gonna burn in hell. That's what
What was that accent?
I don't know. You know.
I'm
just thinking about mullets.
Who?
Mullets.
Oh, mullets. I thought
Yeah.
you said Mullins. Mullins.
What were you going to say?
If you're in Georgia, then tomorrow is the last day to vote. So please vote in the runoffs. If you're in the right districts, please vote for John Ossoff or Warnock. Reverend Warnock. Very holy.
And exudes holiness. Like he might be able to make me be religious. Like he might be able to convince me he just looks like I'm just
him
like I
and my
trust
mom.
you.
Him and my mom together, they would
If you put me in a room with them, I'd be like, yeah, 100% God for sure. Big fan, love it. They just both have like those like I trust them energies, and like that's
yes.
I think they might be able to. I'm a little behind, though. I just too much homework to catch up on.
Hey, it's never too late to learn.
Well,
Jesus is always here to welcome you.
Okay, guys. Anything you want to promote?
Nope.
No?
Mm-mm.
No? You can go to Melissa's Instagram, though. She has all of her podcasts that she also works on.
I've also ran out of space now, so I need to make a website.
Damn.
Yeah.
Booked and busy. Also follow me on Instagram and buy my book if you want to buy my presets, and be safe, wear a mask, don't fuck around, and don't kill your grandma or Betty White. The end. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me, executive produced by Melissa D. Monts, edited by Katrina Henning, and music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast, and with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural Then and Now.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out Real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.